Well, to discuss this story, I'm now joined live from Detroit by Abayomi Azikwe. He's the editor of the Pan-African Newswire. Many thanks for joining us here on RT. Now, David Cameron and Nicolas Sarkozy insist that there's no commercial interest to this intervention, but with the oil tankers due to depart from Libyan ports, many are asking how credible these claims really are.
Well, yes, I think this is very indicative of the overall neo-colonial character of this war that has developed for nearly 7 months now. The National Transition Council would have never been able to get outside of Benghazi if it had not been for the support of the United States as well as the NATO forces. They have supplied these rebels with arms, with diplomatic cover. And then, of course, there was the so-called no-fly zone over Libya, which has really been a massive bombing operation against that country of 6 million people. It's a very, very tense situation that exists right now all over the country. The fact that they have not been able to take over areas in the western part of Libya, such as Bani Walid and Sirte and Sabah, is very much indicative of the fact that this war is by no means settled. Now, just this past week, we've seen an escalation of resistance on the part of the loyalist forces inside of Libya. There was the attack on the Ras Lanuf oil refinery, which shut down oil production in that region of Libya. Some 17 guards at the oil refinery were killed in this attack. This was done during broad daylight on the part of the loyalist forces. There was also attacks at the international airport outside of Tripoli. There's also been reports of sniping and other types of resistance within the capital of Tripoli itself. So this indicates that the situation is still very fluid inside of Libya. So I believe that the visit on the part of Nicolas Sarkozy of France and David Cameron of Britain is an attempt to shore up this neo-colonial takeover of the most oil-rich and the most prosperous country on the African continent.
Okay, well, very strong opinions there. Words like neo-colonialism. Of course, this is a movement that's garnered a lot of support within Libya, of course, itself. But Russia is now calling for an end to the no-fly zone over Libya, which you mentioned. Do you think NATO is likely to heed that call?
We don't believe so. The NATO forces, the Secretary General, Mr. Rasmussen, said earlier this week that the bombing would continue as long as it was necessary in order to subdue the loyalist forces inside of Libya. Also, the United States has admitted just this past week that they had at least 4 Marines that were present inside the capital of Tripoli. Also, the head of the U.S. Africa Command, General Ham, has said that they will lead an expeditionary mission inside of Libya to purportedly search for chemical weapons, supplies, and other types of weapons that could be used against the NTC and the NATO forces. This is following the same pattern that's been going on since February. It was admitted, even in the New York Times, as early as March, that the Obama administration had sent in special CIA-trained units to identify targets that were bombed since March the 19th. Also, we have to recognize that drones, CIA and Pentagon Predator drones, were used. They played a very decisive role. The Secretary General of NATO admitted this several weeks ago, that they could not have taken Tripoli if it had not been for the assistance of the Pentagon in identifying targets and also supplying their special forces in their invasion of Tripoli. But even though they're proclaiming victory in Tripoli and throughout the country, resistance is still very, very strong. They have not been able to track down Colonel Gaddafi. He is giving regular speeches over the Syrian Al Arabi television, calling upon the people in Libya to stand up and resist the occupation of the NATO-led forces inside of Libya.
Okay, Mr. Abayomi Azikwe, I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it there. Very strong opinions there. Editor at the Pan-African Newswire. Thank you for those thoughts.